Ladies and gentlemen, I am the one and only DJ Storms! And usually I have some type of long-winded, crazy, over-the-top, charismatic way to hype up the pay-per-view that's taking place on Sunday, but I legitimately have nothing. There is just no hype, there's no intrigue, there's no interest. WWE has not given a single fuck throughout the entire build towards this pay-per-view. They don't care, so why should I care? Regardless of all of that, that still does not change the fact that it's time for the rundown. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to yet another video right here on YouTube.com. As of course, you already know who I am, Mr. Controversy, and the operator of the best damn Twitter handle known. Wait for it. Wait for it. To mankind, this is the official rundown for WWE Elimination Chamber 2021, which of course is streaming live on the WWE Network this Sunday, February 21st, 2021, with the pre-show starting at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. And yes, you are correct. Your eyes are not deceiving you. I'm not in my normal lair. I'm actually in the OG location with a little bit of updated equipment right here with some GT racing material. Nice new gaming chair. Got the head support. I got the lumbar support down here. I'm living the high life over here. And we are set and ready for the Elimination Chamber on Sunday. And as of course, continuing the tradition, I am not alone here for the rundown. Ladies and gentlemen, my guest today is a lifelong wrestling fan. He is one of the most prominent figures in the IWC and the YWC, like myself. He is the creator of the Hibiki TMD brand and channel, which houses podcasts such as Hibiki High Spots, The Reset Button, Slam Pigs Podcast, and of course, he is a DJ Storms Posse member. He wouldn't be on this fucking channel if he wasn't. Regardless of that, please help me welcome to the channel for the very first time ever, Hibiki TMD. How are you, good sir?
6'2", a brown-eyed soul. This card looks shittier than Nia Jax's whole man. I can't believe I'm here. Thank you for having me. Man, are you blown up from your... I wonder that all the time when you do your intros. Do you get blown up? Because it would just blow me up.
Do I get blown up? Let me tell you something, dude. I have been doing this for 3.5 years. The intro, it started out small, but it has evolved over the years. I do it every single week. I do it at least once a week. Obviously, when we got pay-per-views, sometimes even more than that. So trust me, it is just like second nature to me. But I blow my voice out every single time I do a video, especially when we're talking about WWE, because I'm ranting and raving until the fucking sun comes up. You already know me, bro.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very admirable, the amount of energy you bring to your intros, so touche.
You gotta bring that energy, That's what draws people in.
For sure. There's nothing worse than dead air.
Anyway, so, we got the Elimination Chamber on Sunday, and obviously, there really aren't any words to describe how shitty the build has been. I think we are both in agreement on that. I really don't know what to expect from the show. And let me tell you something. Contrary to popular belief, I really don't. I don't want to bitch and moan. I don't want to whine and complain. I don't want to scream and yell like a raging lunatic. I don't want to blow my voice out every single time I talk about WWE. No normal person wants to do that. If you do enjoy doing that, you're not a normal human being. I don't want to do that. WWE gives me no choice but to do that. I want to see him succeed. I want to see him thrive. I want to watch me some good wrestling. I'm not a hard guy to please. I'm just hoping for a decent show. Will they do that? I would like to hope so. We went into the Rumble with absolutely no expectations, no decent build, and the worst fears that could possibly be conjured up in our minds, and it turned out to be probably the best main roster pay-per-view of the modern era. Debatable, very subjective topic, but still, it was an excellent show. Now, could the Elimination Chamber be a good show? Probably, I hope it is. Not as good as the Rumble, I just hope it is, but this build has been terrible. There's literally no reason for us to be excited about the Chamber, thanks to WWE and their track record. Regardless of that, we're going to dissect each and every single match, plus a couple of news and rumors that have been sent out there in the interwebs. But first things first, Mr. Hibiki, where can we find you on social media?
As always, on Twitter, at the Hibiki TMD, YouTube Hibiki TMD, if you're into retro gaming, pro wrestling, heavy metal, even have a podcast for that comes and goes. And Terry Bollea copping on my channel, playing some live retro games. It's all there for you. All the nerdy goodness, tickling all the funny bones on your nerdy funny bones. Yeah, hit me up there.
Did you just say nerdy funny bones?
I know. It's, you know.
Wait. You wanna talk to me about the intro that I got before we even go into the matches. You want to talk to me about the intro that I got, but you're over here saying nerdy funny bones in your intro. Is that part of like the video that you're doing? I'm not sure. I'm not a consistent watcher, especially because I got a lot of shit going on. But please elaborate on that for me.
Well, we all know also it's cold as hell outside right now, but it's hotter than hell out here. I forgot the most important part. You can cover up your nerdy funny bones at your official Hibiki TMD merch union, smack.bigcartel.com.
Oh, there we go. So I will put the links in the description. Please subscribe to him on YouTube as well. He is over 1,000 subscribers. Going to see if we can get him to 2K. I'm already at 2K, but we're going to see if we can get him to 2K. Before we get into the matches, it's time for my self-brand promotion and advertisements. If you guys don't already follow me on the Twitter sticks, please follow me on the Twitter sticks at HistoryMakerDJS. You'll find out why I am the operator of the best damn Twitter handle known to mankind. Follow me on Instagram as well at TheDJStorms. Add me on Facebook. For collaborations and business inquiries, please send me an email. My email, of course, is StormsTakeOver@gmail.com. Like the official DJ Storms business page, and I may just send you an invite to join the official DJ Storms Posse group on Facebook, that is. All links are in the description. The rewind for NXT TakeOver Vengeance Day, that is currently up on the channel. That's doing great. I believe that is at 150 views, 27 likes. That did excellent. I dissected an excellent night of professional wrestling, an excellent takeover, which I hope would be the start of a rejuvenation period for the NXT brand. The link is in the description. Please go check that out. Tomorrow, we got the Lightning Flash update. We got a lot of interesting material to talk about, including WWE superstars apparently unhappy with Bad Bunny's recent push. I mean, who can fucking blame him? On top of that, Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns is in creative discussion. Not for WrestleMania 37, but it is being discussed for the future. And on top of that, Sammy Guevara apparently landed himself in hot water with AEW and Impact. I will be dissecting all of that. Plus, the week in pro wrestling, I'll be dissecting 7 weekly shows. And the 7th one is actually the first round of the AEW Women's World Title Eliminator on the Japanese side, which was actually fairly decent. Not perfect, but fairly decent right there. I'll be dissecting that. If you guys haven't already done so, we're almost 10 minutes into the video. If you haven't already done so, hit the damn like button. I mean, come on.
Do it.
Yeah, there we go. Hibiki's on the channel for the very first time. That fact alone, you should hit the damn like button. All right?
Damn right.
Hit the like button. We got goals here. We're going to try and see if we can get to 30 likes. 30 likes is the goal today for the rundown for WWE Elimination Chamber. Please go do that. It's right down there. You just got to scroll down and click it. It takes minimal energy, barely even any energy. On top of that, you already know what to do. Keep the chat alive. And when you keep that chat alive, when you talk amongst yourselves, you can talk amongst me. Please make sure you share out the stream on all platforms of social media, whether it be Twitter or Tumblr or Pinterest or Instagram or Facebook. That way we can get everybody in here, whether it be your mothers, your fathers, your dogs, your cats, your guinea pigs, especially your guinea pigs. I mean, come on, even guinea pigs have a fetish for DJ Storms. On top of that, make sure you hit the subscribe.
And you want to give me shit for my nerdy funny bone line being weird.
I mean, come on, dude. The guinea pigs love DJ Storms. The guinea pigs love me. Please make sure you hit the subscribe button if you haven't already done so. I'm up, I'm down, I'm up, I'm down. I don't know what the fuck YouTube's doing, but regardless, it's like a recurring feature with me. I gain a couple subscribers, then I lose them, then I gain them, then I gain them, then I lose them. Regardless of that, please hit the subscribe button so I can grow and expand. And when you do so, you gotta make sure you hit the notifications bell with a huge coup de grace. That way you will know whenever I pop up on YouTube. Because whenever I pop up on YouTube, it is, of course, the best time to be on YouTube. It's the only time you're gonna get to see this glorious sideburn chin strap combination. This beautiful mustache right here. It ain't even a question if I have it or not. I just gotta touch it. Just 1 second. Come on, everybody wants a piece of the Stormsmeister. Anyway, enough of the self-brand promotion and the advertisements. We're gonna get straight into the matches. Don't worry. I'm actually gonna hand this over to you first. But first things first, we actually got a report concerning the first match that we're talking about. Matt Riddle versus Keith Lee versus Bobby Lashley. This is a triple threat match for the United States Championship. And I got a report from Steve Carrier of Ringside News. He tweeted out earlier yesterday in the wee hours of the morning around 10 a.m. for those of you who just woke up on Thursday. He tweeted out, and I quote, "Keith Lee's status for Elimination Chamber is still up in the air. When asking about this, we were told a few disheartening things. This is a pushback, or there is a pushback with Lee because his promos, quote-unquote, haven't caught fire. Vince McMahon still doesn't get him, hence why he sent him for more training." End quote. So I'm going to send this, I'm actually going to hand the ball over to you first. I want you to give me your expertise analysis on this report before we get into the match. So I really don't know what to make of this.
Once again, it's Shayna Baszler all over. She doesn't check all of Vince McMahon's boxes. Neither does Keith Lee, apparently. Then why the fuck is he on the main roster? He wasn't called up, and he wasn't ready, in my opinion. There is still way more to do in NXT. NXT could have sorely used Keith Lee this last fall and winter. I don't understand this old codger that sits atop the ivory tower. I don't. He's the most puzzling, baffling promoter I've ever seen in my life. And we've seen promoters like Herb Abrams coked up out of his mind. We've seen them all come and go, but this guy takes the fucking cake. This is asinine. For me, I don't feel like Keith Lee's missing anything. He's missing a goddamn decent storyline, a proper feud, to showcase why you signed him in the first place, and that speaks for 90% of the talent on the goddamn roster in all three brands.
Dude, let me tell you something. I've been saying it ever since Keith Lee got up to the main roster. He shouldn't even be on the main roster. Keith Lee should be the NXT champion right now. Keith Lee versus Adam Cole was supposed to be the match at TakeOver 31 back in October. Keith Lee would have won the title. Then he would have had a legitimate reign with the title. And then we should have gotten Keith Lee and Karrion Kross at WrestleMania for the NXT Championship, considering that they're not doing a TakeOver for WrestleMania weekend. That should have been the plan. Keith Lee fast-tracked to the NXT Championship because Vince McMahon wanted the title on Kross. Kross ended up getting injured, so it blew up in Vince McMahon's face. And now on top of that, here's another thing that a lot of people don't understand. Bobby Lashley, more likely than not, in the next few months is going to lose the United States Championship. Who the fuck else is there besides Keith Lee? Unless you do Damien Priest. But then again, when was the last time an NXT call-up really made shockwaves and got a major push within a few months of them coming up to the main roster? The last guy that I can remember that actually got a major push within a few months was Kevin Owens. He came up to the main roster, and then in 4 months, he was the Intercontinental Champion. Outside of that, which was like 6 years ago, there hasn't been one NXT call-up that has made an instant impact. There has not been one NXT call-up that management has invested in immediately like that. Not one. Now, they could do Damien Priest, but he's got his own shit going on with fucking Bad Bunny. More likely than not, it's going to result in a fucking tag team match with The Miz and Morrison. God fucking help us all. So, outside of Damien Priest, there's only Keith Lee. Realistically speaking, Keith Lee actually makes this match better, so I don't understand why you wouldn't have Keith Lee in this match. Matt Riddle and Bobby Lashley, that feud was completely fucked up. WWE fucked it up because they had Bobby Lashley constantly ragdoll Riddle around for a few seconds each and every single week for, like 6-7 weeks now? So how are we supposed to take Matt Riddle seriously against Bobby Lashley? It is it is clear as day that you've wanted us to believe that Matt Riddle is Bobby Lashley's bitch. If this was a one-on-one match between Matt Riddle and Bobby Lashley, it's a lose-lose situation, because if Matt Riddle wins, after everything that Bobby Lashley's done to Matt Riddle, it's going to make Bobby Lashley look weak. If Matt Riddle loses, then it's going to further solidify Matt Riddle as Bobby Lashley's bitch. Realistically speaking, Lashley beating Riddle here, furthering the storyline with Keith Lee, that way Keith Lee still has a legitimate case of why he should be fighting for the United States Championship, and we get Keith Lee and Bobby Lashley at Mania. Keith Lee becomes United States Champion. Hell, if we're going to be quite honest here, Keith Lee should win Money in the Bank this year.
You're not wrong.
I really don't know. I really don't know what else we could say about this report. But as far as the match goes, Keith Lee should still be a part of the match. No fucking doubt about it. If they give these guys the time, then they could put on the best match of the night that's not an Elimination Chamber match. Matt Riddle and Keith Lee and Bobby Lashley absolutely could tear the house down if given the proper amount of time. And I absolutely see Bobby Lashley retaining. Like I said, he's going to win the match, retain the title by defeating Matt Riddle, and we are going to further the storyline with Keith Lee. Keith Lee should absolutely be the man to take the title off of Bobby Lashley, because I do believe there's bigger plans for Bobby Lashley. Fans are coming back. And this would be the perfect opportunity to capitalize on Bobby Lashley and Brock Lesnar. And we could be looking at Bobby Lashley and Brock Lesnar as one of the marquee matches, one-on-one, for SummerSlam 2021. Keith Lee, obviously, he should be United States Champion, and he can go on to win Money in the Bank. He could drop the U.S. title to Damien Priest over the summer. Wishful thinking. I mean, I could book this shit better in 2 minutes, which is what I've pretty much been doing. I could book this shit better in 2 minutes than WWE could book it better in 2 fucking years.
And that's the synopsis on their writing team in general. At the end of the day, it's not fucking rocket science. It's not, especially when you have a talent like a Matt Riddle, a Keith Lee, and Aleister Black. These guys, I mean, their characters are so strong and prominent. Literally, they write themselves in a way, especially like an Aleister Black. How that guy's been fucked. How do you mess that guy up? You know what I mean? 2 points on Matt Riddle I want to make real quick for you, Keith Lee. I don't know if it's me, but I feel like as soon as WWE gets a whiff of this guy smokes a little bit of pot outside the ring, it's the Rob Van Dam gimmick all over again. Make him Jay from Jay and Silent Bob. That's exactly what they've done to Matt Riddle. A year ago with Matt Riddle, before all this bullshit they've done, getting his foot stomped by Bobby Lashley, looking like a putz. Yeah, I would have been totally invested in Matt Riddle. But you're right. The second point I want to make about Matt Riddle, in their eyes, I know what they're doing. They've done this time and time again, but they do it too much. They beat a guy down to build him up. And there's a fine goddamn line when you do that. And I just think it's going too far to the left with Matt Riddle. And you're right. They booked themselves into a corner now. If Riddle wins, then it hurts Lashley. If you're going to do the match with Lesnar. And if Riddle loses again, where the hell do you go from?
Well, I actually know. I actually know where Riddle's going. I know where Riddle's going. Matt Riddle, here's the thing with Matt Riddle. There's no way that he was going to win the U.S. title. If they wanted to give him the U.S. title, even though he should win the U.S. title, if they wanted to give him the United States Championship, they would have done it already. Yeah. Matt Riddle, he's still going to be feuding with the Hurt Business, but he's not going to be feuding with Lashley. Matt Riddle and Jeff Hardy, the Hardy Bros, the Hardy Bros name has been trademarked by WWE. It came out that they trademarked the Hardy Bros, I believe, about 2 months ago. They trademarked the Hardy Bros, and they would not trademark something outside of Cody Rhodes just to trademark it and keep it to themselves. They wouldn't. Right. So, what's going to happen is this. Lashley's going to do his own thing after Elimination Chamber. He's going to be finished with Riddle. Matt Riddle and Jeff Hardy are going to go into WrestleMania, and they're going to fight Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin, and they're going to win the Raw Tag Team titles. Why? There's literally nobody else. You could probably get another title defense in with the Lucha House Party, maybe against the New Day, but ultimately, it's going to be Matt Riddle and Jeff Hardy that ultimately takes the Raw Tag Team titles off of the Hurt Business. Who else is there? There's literally nobody else. You got four tag teams, 5 tag teams if you count Retribution, but then again, I don't think anyone wants to fucking count T-Balls and Disgrace, and then we got Applejack, Jack Black, Jack Off. I mean, it pains me. It legitimately pains me to see Mustafa Ali paired with those guys because I am such a huge Mustafa Ali advocate. I've been a believer in that guy ever since that 2 out of 3 falls match with Drew Gulak in 2017 on 205 Live. I have been such a major advocate for Mustafa Ali, and he's paired with these fucking miscreants. It's sad to see. But regardless of that, we're not here to talk about fucking Retribution and fucking T-Balls who has me blocked on Twitter. That's a different story for a different day. But again, Matt Riddle and Jeff Hardy, they're going to fight the Hurt Business at WrestleMania. There's literally nobody else. You're not going to leave Matt Riddle off of WrestleMania. And Jeff Hardy and Matt Riddle are going to win the Raw Tag Team titles. That's where Matt Riddle is going. Keith Lee, I don't know where the fuck Keith Lee is going. He should be the one to beat Lashley. But I don't know where the fuck Keith Lee's going after this report, dude. But I can definitely see Bobby Lashley retaining by defeating Matt Riddle here.
Yeah, definitely.
So, from that, we're moving on to actually a match that might not even happen, considering an announcement on Raw. Asuka versus Lacey Evans for the Raw Women's Championship, and the fact that it may not happen, I think a lot of people, including myself, are fucking jumping for joy there.
What a blessing in disguise this pregnancy was.
Oh my god, yeah, we were actually caught off guard. I originally thought it was a storyline, but the dirt sheets, they were on that shit. They were on that shit like flies on honey. So, apparently, Ringside News, PW Insider, and I believe it was Fightful as well, like a bunch of sources came out to clarify whether this was a work or whether this was legit, and apparently it is legit. Lacey Evans is legitimately pregnant. She is pregnant with her second child, but apparently, I heard from Ringside News, I read a report, that apparently they plan to keep her on television for the next few weeks because they want to use this in the storyline with Charlotte Flair, and they want to pass it off as Ric Flair's child. That's what I apparently heard. I'm not sure how truth it is. You could take it with a grain of salt if you wish, but that is what I heard. And here's the thing. She's pregnant, fine. Cool. She could do her thing. I'm not going to fault her for being pregnant, but I will absolutely fault WWE because where is it written in the rule book, in this wrestling rule book, that when a real-life incident arises, you need to use it in a storyline? One of the worst storylines that the company has produced at that, with Charlotte Flair and Lacey Evans, which absolutely makes no sense. I don't even know why the fuck Ric Flair is even back. I don't even know why the fuck Ric Flair is even feuding with his daughter vicariously through Lacey Evans. I don't know what the fuck's going on. I don't know how to perceive this. I legitimately don't know. I am just at a loss for fucking words. And you already know me. I'm the guy that always has something to say, because I got a big fucking mouth.
I called some shit for this on Twitter the other day, but fuck whoever that burner account was that came at me. Sometimes it's okay to be fucking cliche in wrestling. I said when this happened, they should have wrote her off with an injury angle. Charlotte had finally snapped, had enough. She went too far. She attacked Lacey Evans backstage. She went enough, and then that writes Lacey Evans out of storyline. But I'm going to kill two birds with one stone here. Then you come out afterwards, after writing her off like that, and say she was pregnant. If you got to have that in there, and that transitions Charlotte back to what she should be in the first place, which is a heel, because there's no redeeming babyface qualities about Charlotte Flair. She's one of the worst baby faces I've ever seen. What's more heel heat than beating up a pregnant lady? You know what I mean? So two birds with one stone. You do Charlotte and Asuka at WrestleMania, and you get Asuka that goddamn win she should have got at WrestleMania 34. You do right by Asuka, and that it gives something Asuka relevant to do. Get out of this storyline as soon as possible. And I hope to God they have seen. I don't know how it's possible, by the way. And this is very rarely this happens. Nia Jax, Dana Brooke, once in a while. How does a talent start in the PC from scratch with the best possible trainers in the entire world, go through the ranks of NXT, and she progressively gets worse week after week after year after year? And that's what we have with Lacey Evans. Here's a woman who last year was in title matches with Becky Lynch. You know what I mean? And it blows my mind how bad she truly gets more and more every month.
Billie Kay also.
Yeah, Billie. in fairness to Billie Kay, they shouldn't be out putting her out there working a match. Billie Kay is pure cheap heel heat entertainment to me. Keep her on a mic, all that shit. She's supposed to be cringe at that, man. I don't want to see her work.
I don't want to see her at all. She's AIDS. We live by a code. We live by a couple of codes here. I'll spare you the first code because I think you know what it is. But the second code is Billie Kay is AIDS. She is absolute AIDS, and I'm still wondering why she wasn't fired on Black Wednesday almost a year ago.
I got to be honest, in the Women's Rumble this year, which, by the way, I think is the best Women's Rumble they ever
Oh, no,
done
absolutely.
before,
Yeah.
I think she was entertaining in that.
I don't know. She was pure cringe. I mean, like, fucking Billy and Jilly. Don't even get me started on that.
Can we say, like, the one thing we're totally going to come to terms and agree on? Poor Asuka. Who did this poor woman piss off so... Just like Shayna Baszler, the two most dominant champions in NXT history, period, point blank. What the fuck did they do to people backstage for this? You talk about an afterthought. Asuka's more than an afterthought at this point.
I mean, she has a resume. She has a resume, and that's because of sheer fucking luck. I say it all the time. There's only been about 10 NXT call-ups that have come up to and have gone on to have lucrative, successful careers on Raw and SmackDown. 3 Shield members, the four horsewomen, Kevin Owens, Alexa Bliss, and Asuka. And the majority of them succeeded because of sheer fucking luck. Asuka's one of them.
I think it's fair to say the most successful NXT call-ups are Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins, but that's before the NXT we know now. That's a way different NXT, and FCW in a way.
Regardless, it's still NXT.
Why does WWE think, just because, yes, the Attitude Era was the highest rated of all time, blah, blah, you know, the nostalgia is great, it's just, they need to read the goddamn room with this. And I'm from the old school, don't get me wrong, you know how much I love watching the Young Bucks work, but if I was running a company, I'd be smart enough to know that that's what people are into. This is not the era of trashy storylines and Jerry's. This is the era of streamlined, competitive matches, keep it simple, less is more, with some drama. I mean, look at Moxley and Omega last night. You know, very rarely do I praise AEW. That was fantastic. Stuff like that. This is what...
And of course, with NXT, with the Undisputed Era breaking up, Adam Cole could very well go on his own Tommaso Ciampa raid.
Yeah. And it's like you and I were talking, you know, in DMs the other day. Kids don't think this is cool. Adults laugh at this.
Kids make fun of it. Kids make fun of it on social media.
Exactly. Look at every time, like, you know, the NBA fan incident with Jericho and all that. And that's not, and you know what? Flat out, that's not to do with AEW. That's how much of a mockery WWE has treated their company as a whole with their main shows for about the past 5 years.
Yeah, WWE itself has just given off this bad vibe when it comes to pro wrestling.
And it's like, I equate WWE in the last 5 or 6 years too. It's like, you got that restaurant you hold near and dear to your heart as a kid. It was your favorite place for your parents to take you, right? It was great. It was fucking on point. It was just the feels, right? It got you in the feels. And then they got new management, or they came into money. And then the menu started getting a little more bland. The employees became a little more lackluster and just carefree and just lax and all that. It just degressed over time. And you're watching this restaurant you loved so much as a kid turn into goddamn shitty Red Robin. That's what WWE is in the modern era. And, you know, the WWE cultists, the people that, you know, I call it like I see it. You know me. I don't, you know, whatever. If it's bad, I praise it. If it's shit, I say it's shit. I think the Peacock deal is God, that's bad for just the state of Monday Night Raw, because more money equals more mundane shit.
I was going to talk about this. Yeah, I was going to talk about this on the Lightning Flash update, but I think we might as well talk about it now. Here's the thing. The worst part about all of this is it's not just the Peacock deal. It's the fact that Vince McMahon, obviously we know Vince McMahon is undoubtedly the worst promoter, the worst CEO of a wrestling company right now. Maybe of all time, because of how shit his weekly television is. But he's probably the best businessman that we have alive right now. The guy knows how to make money. And the worst thing about it is, and I tell you this all the time, I say this all the time, WWE is never going to go out of business. They're going to make money despite themselves. So when people come at me with this, oh, you don't like it, don't watch it. What difference does it make whether people watch or whether they don't watch? Look at what has happened over the course of the last 7 years. 7 years ago, Monday Night Raw was pulling in 4 million, 5 million viewers. Now they can't even get over 2 million. So yeah, people have stopped watching, but the company's still making money because of Vince McMahon's sly business tactics, his fantastic business tactics, and that is what is keeping them afloat. So it don't matter whether people watch or whether they don't watch. They're going to make money despite themselves, and the only way that the company is ever going to get better is when Vince McMahon's heart stops beating. That's it.
Sorry I got us off the rails, though, but back to Asuka and Lacey Evans. What would you do with Asuka this Sunday if Lacey Evans obviously can't compete? Do you just scrap it?
To be quite honest, dude, I honest to God don't even know. I mean, I would probably put her in a match in a competitive match. I would, if I was them, I would just do an open challenge. I would probably have Naomi accept, because Naomi's very good at what she does. You can get a decent match with her and Asuka on the show. Would actually make the show a little bit better than just leaving it blank. I mean, more likely than not, they'll probably just scrap it. I'm really not sure what they're going to do, but I wouldn't mind doing Asuka and Naomi on the show. Realistically speaking, I'm sorry. No. To be quite honest, I would save Rhea Ripley for WrestleMania, and I would give Rhea Ripley the title at WrestleMania.
Or you can make Rhea Ripley be like, you do the open challenge. Rhea Ripley comes out, and then she dethrones Asuka. You do that rematch from last year. But the booking of that match was awful. It's one of the worst decisions of the year. But you can't deny that Charlotte and Rhea were fantastic in the ring last year. You do right by Rhea and have her get that win back on Charlotte at Mania.
Great match, yeah. But yeah, wrong outcome. Now, I wouldn't mind that, sure. but honest to God, do you really trust this company to do that? I mean,
no.
Exactly!
No.
Charlotte Flair, and on top of that, even if they did give Rhea the Raw Women's Championship, do you really trust this company to actually put over Rhea Ripley through Charlotte Flair? And do you expect Charlotte Flair to go forth with that? Charlotte Flair, I say this all the time, she's a self-centered, egotistical cunt. She is.
I don't know if it's on her, though.
It is.
Doing what she's told.
No. It's both, dude. It's both. It's WWE for catering to her, and the fact of the matter is that she knows that they are in her back pocket. She knows that they're in her back pocket. She's here, and she's going to stay here, and she's going to use that influence that she has to stay there. Because if she really cared, all I need to do is use this example. Shayna Baszler. She was on the main roster. She's been on the main roster for over a year now. Look at what has happened with Shayna Baszler every single time she crossed a four-horsewoman. Becky came out on a podcast saying that she even advocated for Shayna to beat her at WrestleMania. And they turned her down. But, Becky advocated for Shayna. Look at Sasha Banks and Bayley. Look at how great they made Shayna look when Shayna was fighting them for the women's tag team titles. Then look at what happened with Shayna when she came face-to-face with Charlotte. You think that's a coincidence? No.
And now she's taking a backseat to Nia Jax's butthole.
Oh, God in heaven. I mean, let's not revisit that. Well, to be quite honest, I'd much rather stare at Nia Jax's hole than watch this show. But regardless, that's a different story for a different time. We're going to gloss over that. Man, I think I could retract that. Let me rewind that.
No, I like your idea, though. You open challenge this. And, I mean, at the end of the day, it's just the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view. Naomi's fine. God knows that Asuka needs some steam. Let her be Naomi, you know?
What they should have done, dude, here's what they should have done. Bianca should have already chosen Sasha Banks by now. I don't know why they're delaying it, but Bianca should have already chosen Sasha. What they should have done is they should have had a Raw Women's Elimination Chamber. Asuka didn't need to defend the title on the show. We should have a Raw Women's Elimination Chamber with Charlotte, Naomi, Shayna, Nia, Alexa, and a surprise entrant, which could be Rhea Ripley, and Rhea Ripley should have won, and she should have gone on to face Asuka at Mania. That's what they should have done.
Yeah, I don't feel like we need a Raw Men's Chamber this year at all. They should have just done Sheamus and Drew as that little transitional win for Drew.
Yes.
You know?
And they could have done the SmackDown Chamber with the same exact guys, but the winner faces Roman at Mania because Edge would have already chosen Drew by now. That's what they should have done. Those should have been your three marquee matches to sell the Elimination Chamber. Sheamus and Drew, the SmackDown Men's Chamber, and the Raw Women's Chamber. Roman didn't need to defend the title at the Chamber, and neither did Drew, to be quite honest with you. We didn't need both world champions defending the title at the Chamber, because you got Fastlane coming up on March 21st, so you could have had one world champion defend the title at the Chamber, and one world champion defend the title at Fastlane, make those world championships seem more important and give them their own spotlight, but instead now, because you elected to have the Royal Rumble winners wait, oh yeah, now we gotta put two world title matches on the show.
I said this on Slam Pigs last week on my channel. I just, like I said, I'm from the old school. I hate the fact that Elimination Chamber is its own pay-per-view in the first place. I hate gimmick pay-per-views. I hate that they put this right on the road to WrestleMania every year. I think it's the epitome of lazy booking. It's an easy way to shuffle around what they've squandered for the past year in a ditch effort to make Vince happy. I feel like if you're going to do Elimination Chambers, if you got to do this, never have the guy defending his belt in these. You make it for that brand who you know, the guy on that, there was no winner of the Rumble in that brand, so the winner of that match gets the guy at Mania. So we don't have two fucking men's chamber matches. We don't have, you're taking a huge risk with a guy like Drew McIntyre injuring himself in a match like this.
You can have title defenses inside the Elimination Chamber if you want to, but you actually have to make it feel important. And WWE didn't make it feel important. They just announced the competitors.
Yeah. For the sake of, all former WWE champions. I don't give a fuck. When's the last time Jeff Hardy was a WWE champion? What's he done since then? The Miz. I haven't given a shit about The Miz.
It's actually Kofi now.
Well, yeah, I know that now, but I'm saying initially The Miz.
Dude, The Miz, I say this all the time with The Miz. The Miz has had one of, probably the worst year out of anyone on the main roster, not named Bray Wyatt, has been The Miz. The Miz went from one of the best feuds of the modern era with Dolph Ziggler in 2016 SmackDown. Then he went with that great feud with Daniel Bryan in 2018. And since 2018, he has not had any steam. He has not had any relevancy. He has not had anything to feast on. He has not had 1 ounce of decent booking. The man is completely dead. He is one of the biggest enhancement talents in the WWE right now. And John Morrison,
a lot of people forget he's been here for like 15 years.
Yeah.
I mean,
he's a made man.
He's a made man, and that's why I say, if you wanted to cool him off, get him off TV, have him in that ambassador role for a couple months to at least figure out what the fuck to do with this guy of substance. You know, anything. I just get him off my TV for now.
You're probably gonna hate me for this, but you are correct.
Oh, I've never been so mad about being right in my life.
But where were we? Asuka and Lacey Evans. So if you are going to put this match on the show, if you're gonna have a Raw Women's Title match, just do an open challenge. Do Asuka and Naomi. Give us a decent match. Give us some decent women's wrestling. Asuka retains. And then more likely than not, we're headed towards Charlotte and Asuka at Mania, unfortunately. And you know what they're going to do. They're going to give it to fucking Charlotte. And she's going to be a fucking 75-time women's champion within a 7-year period. The fact that woman has all the accomplishments that she has in such a short amount of time, and her career isn't even half fucking over. Dude, think about this for a minute. She is a 13-time women's champion, winner of the Women's Royal Rumble, one of the first women to compete inside Hell in a Cell, and the first woman to win inside Hell in a Cell, broke Asuka's undefeated streak, one of the first ever women to compete in the first ever Women's Money in the Bank ladder match, and one of the first women to headline WrestleMania. All in 7 years. And she's, 32? She's got at least 15 years left as a pro wrestler. That is fucking ridiculous in its own right.
Meanwhile, we have nothing for a Ruby Riott, a Kaylee Ray, fucking, yeah, I'm with you.
No, Kaylee Ray, no, Kaylee Ray, she's the longest reigning NXT UK Women's Champion. She's got that title over 530 days, so Kaylee Ray.
Right. But who the fuck watches NXT UK besides people like you and me? You wouldn't even know she's under the company banner, because you never hear about her.
Well, that's because of the fact that they don't promote NXT UK on their television shows like Raw and SmackDown, and they only started promoting NXT because of AEW, because they want to prevent AEW from growing and expanding. So if they promoted it on Raw and SmackDown a lot more often, then a lot more people would watch it. But I watch it all the time, and Kaylee Ray, I'm loving what she's doing, but that's a different conversation for a different time. So we're both in agreement here. Asuka versus Naomi, if they do an open challenge. Will that happen? Probably not. They're probably going to do some shenanigans with Charlotte Flair and Lacey Evans, and I'm going to end up ranting and raving about it on the rewind. But we're moving on to the first Elimination Chamber match. It is Sami Zayn versus Baron Corbin versus Cesaro versus Jey Uso versus Kevin Owens versus Daniel Bryan. This is an Elimination Chamber match where the winner will face Roman Reigns later on that night for the Universal Championship. And I guess we can kind of talk about both matches, because, like, this technically is 2 matches in one. We're going to have the Elimination Chamber, and then the winner faces Roman. So, I have no problem with this Chamber match. I don't. But the only problem is the fact that the winner's facing Roman on the same night. That's the problem that I have with the Chamber. I got no problem with this Chamber match, because this Chamber match, I would have booked it just how it is. I maybe would have replaced Jey Uso or Corbin with Nakamura, but I do believe that Nakamura could very well be involved in a match on the show, which hasn't been confirmed yet. It could probably be confirmed tonight on SmackDown. It's probably going to be Nakamura, Cruz, and Big E. Triple threat match for the Intercontinental title, which I'm not going to be opposed to. I mean, I'm certainly not going to complain about that match. That's a great match in its own right. But I would have put Nakamura in this Chamber as well. But as far as this Chamber goes, I do expect it to be a good Chamber. I'm not going to shortchange any of them. Corbin is decent when he is paired with the right talent. He's decent when he wants to be. Sami's great, even though they've booked him like shit. Jey Uso, he has grown and blossomed into a main event star. Not for very long, because his brother is due back any day now. Kevin Owens and Daniel Bryan and Cesaro, I mean, they're self-explanatory. I want to have faith that they're going to do the right thing, because I have a theory of how this should be played out. In all honesty, dude, if we're going to be quite honest here, I would give the Chamber win to Cesaro. I would give the Chamber win to Cesaro, and I would have Cesaro face Reigns later on in the night, because then you have an interesting scenario that you can play out here. Think about this. We all know what happened on SmackDown last week when Rollins attacked Cesaro. If Rollins is not going to be involved in the Intercontinental Championship title picture, and he shouldn't be involved with Daniel Bryan. Bryan and Reigns is the correct Universal title match for Mania. Will they go that route? Probably not, but that is the correct Universal title route. Not Rollins and Bryan, not Reigns and Edge. It is Bryan and Roman, one-on-one for the Universal title. I would give this win to Cesaro, and I would actually have Seth Rollins cost Cesaro and build off what you built on last week. And you could build off with Seth Rollins and Cesaro at WrestleMania. I don't know about you, but that's a pretty damn good fucking return match for Rollins, because it's going to be pretty hard to justify Rollins getting an IC title shot against Big E one-on-one, unless you want to do a multi-man ladder match and you do something like Cruz, Big E, Rollins, Cesaro, Nakamura, Sami Zayn, and Baron Corbin. You could do that, but I don't think they're going to do that. They could possibly do that, but I would build off of what you built off of last week and have Cesaro win the Chamber. It's unpredictable. It gets us a fresh matchup. It gets us a really interesting opportunity, especially since Cesaro has been on a fucking tear as of lately. I don't know why, but Cesaro's been on a tear as of lately.
How good was it to see somebody actually win with the sharpshooter, by the way, 2 weeks ago, and not just as a setup move?
I'm just happy that Cesaro's getting wins.
Yeah.
I'm just happy that Cesaro's getting wins, but I would absolutely capitalize on Cesaro's momentum, give him the Chamber win, give him the match with Reigns, get a great match with Roman Reigns, and you can have Rollins cost Cesaro. And you could build on Rollins, Cesaro, Mania, great return match for Rollins, and whatever you want to do with Rollins after Mania, you could probably build towards Rollins and Bryan after Mania, probably towards SummerSlam. But Bryan and Reigns absolutely should be the Universal title match for
I agree,
WrestleMania.
and if they're going to do that, they need to start doing that fast, because they have a 7-year storyline arc to build off of that with the old Rumbles of 2015 and 2014. They need to start pulling that trigger now.
You realize that they're not going to do that, right? Because they got to build towards fucking Fastlane. If anything, I wouldn't be surprised if Daniel Bryan wins the Chamber here and we get this match here.
Nobody's saying that Roman Reigns should have to even be on the Fastlane card. I mean, let's not forget.
He's probably not. He's probably not. Here's what I can see. Here's what I can see happening. I can see Reigns retaining, obviously, no matter who he's facing.
Yeah.
And then what we could probably be headed towards is we could probably be headed towards some type of number one contenders match at Fastlane, because you're going to have to determine Roman Reigns' challenger one way or another. Edge needs to choose McIntyre. It is not up for debate. Edge and Roman, it is not going to be a match that is going to enhance Roman. Roman is not going to be enhanced just by beating anybody. You need to put specific people against Roman Reigns with history that are going to tell a great story and enhance him as well through in-ring work. Edge and Roman, they're not going to tell a great story because they don't have history. The promos will probably be great. The build-up's probably going to be great. The match will probably be great, but they don't have any history. Bryan, I've explained this already. Bryan, while it's not necessarily true, Bryan is kind of the sole reason why Roman Reigns' career as a babyface failed. So why not capitalize on that story?
And I truly feel like if you're going to do does the old line still have it thing with Edge, I think that's tailor-made for a babyface versus babyface at the biggest stage of all, with him and Drew.
And on top of that, Edge shouldn't be winning a championship anyway. So if you're going to use him, use him to enhance Drew. Because Drew McIntyre, I already told everyone how they fucked up with Drew McIntyre by having him lose the title to Randy Orton when Randy Orton didn't need the championship. Now you have to rebuild Drew McIntyre's momentum. They've done a semi-decent job. He's got a successful title defense against Styles, Lee, Goldberg. You give him a win inside the chamber. Then you have him beat Edge. You continue to build on that momentum going into SummerSlam. More likely than not, he should drop the championship to Karrion Kross, with the rumors of Karrion Kross being fast-tracked to the main roster. I don't think anyone's going to complain about a Kross and McIntyre match. That's an excellent match waiting to happen, and I would absolutely transfer the legitimacy from McIntyre to Kross. And then
There's a lot of rumors that we're going to get Kross and Balor at Mania. The NXT title is going to be on the Mania card with the Demon versus Kross.
I actually don't see that happening. I actually don't see that happening, and I'm going to talk about that tomorrow when I review NXT on the Lightning Flash update. I think it's actually going to be a multi-man match, and I'm going to explain that. So if you want to be sure to tune in. Be sure to tune in there. But as far as the SmackDown Chamber goes, I'm not going to knock it. I think that this could probably be the best This could probably be the best match of the night. It could probably be the best match of the night. I think this is going to be a very good chamber. And to be quite honest, again, I'm going to hold out hope, and I'm going to go with Cesaro. I'm going with Cesaro. I'm sticking with Cesaro, and we're going to get Cesaro and Reigns one-on-one, and Roman Reigns is going to defeat Cesaro with some type of fuckery. The ref's going to go down some way, somehow. Rollins is going to swoop in. He's going to cost Cesaro. Reigns is going to retain the title, as he should, and he's going to go into the WrestleMania 37 pay-per-view with the championship. So I'm going with Cesaro to win this match. I think it's going to be a very good match. I think this chamber could actually be better than the WWE Championship chamber. We'll have to see what happens. But the floor is yours. What do you say about this match?
The beauty of multi-man matches is, especially on the road to WrestleMania, you can build up multiple storylines at once. Same thing. It's so crazy to think that Cesaro, as long as he's been in this company, has never had a one-on-one match for any kind of world prominent title like that. I think it's what you do. Why not do Rollins and Cesaro? I want to see, if anything, and you and I have talked about this off air too, I really want to see them work a story somehow. There doesn't have to be a belt. Doesn't have to be any of that. You talk about history. You talk about guys that, not a battleground, not a goddamn Fastlane, not even Raw. I want to see Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens finally on the biggest stage of all. Those two. I mean, what else do you do with either one of those guys right now, to be honest? Anyway.
Multi-man ladder match for the Intercontinental title.
See, I don't want that.
Neither do I, but this is WWE we're talking about, and you know their bread and butter when it comes to certain types of championships in WrestleMania.
Yeah.
But I would absolutely do that.
You stole my thunder, and I totally would have booked it the exact same way you did with Cesaro. That's really your only off. Baron Corbin, really? I mean, he's just a body in this.
Burger King on crack, Corbin.
Yeah.
KFC Corbin. McDonald's loving it, Corbin.
But yeah, I think that's
White Castle Corbin.
White Castle Corbin.
White Castle Corbin. This is why, anything could happen on the channel here. We're more entertaining than this bullshit right here. White Castle. If we can get a White Castle Corbin in the chat, we would love that. White Castle Corbin in the chat.
Two for $6 Corbin.
2 for $6. 2 for $6 Corbin. Taco Bell Chalupa Corbin.
Oh man.
Anyway, so yeah, we're both in agreement there. We're going with Cesaro. Now, would you have Rollins cost Cesaro in the match with Roman Reigns?
I mean, you could. You also got to remember too. This guy's just coming out of an Elimination Chamber match, so you could always have that linger too. Like Roman can beat him clean, and Cesaro can always have that in the story of I wasn't fresh. I just survived a Chamber match. You know what I mean? But then again, you got to weave Rollins in somehow. You know, so yeah, I guess that's the route you go.
I mean, here's what you could do. Roman shouldn't even defend the title at Fastlane, to be quite honest with you. But if you want to, you could have Cesaro say that, hey, I wasn't 100%, and he could get another shot at Fastlane before we eventually get Roman and Bryan at Mania.
Rollins, and then Rollins calls him that one. Yeah, totally. Agree.
That could happen, but I don't see them doing that.
No, that would be long-term booking. Why would they do that?
Oh, long-term booking? Oh, that's not in Bruce Pritchard's vocabulary.
I love you.
Oh, my God. Bruce Pritchard. Bruce motherfucking Pritchard. So...
Mr. 2 for 6 himself there.
He's 2 for 6. 2 for 6. More like 10 for 20 with the amount with the gut that he's got.
He's the guy that goes to drive-thru and says, give me the left side of the menu.
Give me the left side of the menu. Give me like 95% of the menu.
No, I agree though, dude. This should be the best match on the card, hands down. For sure.
So, now I did mention the Intercontinental Championship match. It's not technically confirmed, but do you want to talk about that for a little bit?
Sure, yeah.
So, based on what happened last week, SmackDown's tonight. Based on what happened last week, we could be looking at Nakamura, Cruz, and Big E for the Intercontinental title, which I'm not opposed to. I think that would actually be a great match, and that would be a nice way to bridge Big E through the Elimination Chamber, and we could possibly see Big E moving on to someone bigger and better, maybe Rollins, maybe Cesaro if they want to go that route, maybe a multi-man match, I'm not sure, but I don't know what do you do with Big E. So, we get this match. I'm going with Big E to retain. Great match. Big E retains. What do you do with Big E going into WrestleMania?
I think obviously the biggest factor in this match is Apollo Crews should eat the pin in this match. And that way, if you want to keep going Nakamura in this picture, he wasn't pinned, whatever. I don't know. I mean, you talk about a guy they wanted to break out and come on shine. I love Big E, and I love that he's having some success with it. But man, it's just another case that they shot themselves in the foot. They just, it's tough, dude. Maybe Nakamura at WrestleMania. I have no unearthly clue. I really think they're just going to go the route like you said, a ladder match for the IC belt. Well, it's much easier to book it that way.
I mean, if anything, here's what I can see happening. If they want to do it, if they want to do this, I don't know. Maybe they do Cesaro and Rollins at Fastlane instead of WrestleMania, and that could act as an unofficial number one contenders match, and the winner of that match faces Big E at WrestleMania. I don't know.
And I think if you want to get Big E over strong as a singles guy, who better to beat at WrestleMania retaining your belt than a Seth Rollins who's just coming back? So.
Well, then again, here's the thing. The thing with that is, do you have Big E hold the title a little bit past WrestleMania? Because Big E realistically is the right guy to beat Roman. There's literally nobody else that you have on that roster that's worthy of beating Roman. That is a new star that can be, maybe Cesaro. You could do Cesaro, but you honestly see WWE doing that with Cesaro.
No.
Exactly.
He's Swiss.
Exactly. Exactly. He's not grasping the brass ring. I mean, do you see WWE doing that with Cesaro? Absolutely not. So realistically, Big E's the only guy that would benefit from beating Roman because he's a new star, and you could build towards Big E defending the title at WrestleMania 38 against whoever. I don't know. I would definitely do Cesaro and Big E for the Universal title WrestleMania 38 because why the fuck not? But again, I don't see that happening. But yeah, Big E versus Roman at SummerSlam, that would be the ideal match to put forth for the Universal Championship.
Here's a total curveball, and then you're probably going to hate this idea. I'm not in love with it myself. And I think he was on Raw when we last saw him. We haven't seen Jinder Mahal in quite some time.
No.
We just
No.
We just saw.
No.
Let me finish.
No.
We just saw the gangbusters business they did in India with that massive rating, right? Why not have Jinder Mahal come back? Big E beats Jinder Mahal for the IC belt at Mania, retains. I don't know what else to do.
Oh, God.
You know they're going to try, since they got that huge number in India, you know they're going to do something with Jinder Mahal now. It's all about business, right?
Fucking Maharaja. Shove the Maharaja up your ass.
I don't know, man.
Neither do I, but we're both in agreement there. Big E retains the Intercontinental Championship at the Elimination Chamber.
I'd love to see a resurgence in Nakamura sometime this year, too. I think the seed has been planted a little bit. I think people are clamoring for it and salivating on a serious Nakamura push to do right by him finally. Hopefully by this year's end, it would have happened. But
I actually called for Nakamura to face Reigns one-on-one at the Chamber here. I actually called one-on-one for Nakamura to face Reigns at the Chamber.
I don't see why not. Even in a loss, that gets Nakamura at least back in the conversation, right?
Exactly, because like, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do with Nakamura after he had that great performance and he got fucked over in the Gauntlet match? You're just gonna leave it open? And I predicted it. They would just leave it open, and they left it open. Nakamura, he deserves a world title match. He's not gonna win, but he deserves a title match. And why not put him against Reigns? Give him a great match. It would make the show better.
Yeah, I think it's there simmering, though. I think everyone's ready to just give a shit about Nakamura again. So give us a reason. It's right there, you know? People love that guy.
But no, he's Japanese, so they're not going to push him.
Yeah, exactly.
He's Japanese.
Exactly. Unless your name's Yokozuna, you're not getting a big push as Japanese, and that was, the joke.
Was he even Japanese?
Thank you.
He wasn't even fucking Japanese, dude.
Exactly.
Unreal.
Because Vince McMahon isn't over Pearl Harbor, probably. Next match.
Oh, God. Main event, or the match that should be the main event of the show, more likely than not will be the main event. It is Drew McIntyre defending the WWE Championship inside the Elimination Chamber against Randy Orton, Kofi Kingston, Jeff Hardy, Sheamus, and AJ Styles. And I don't know if you know, but all the competitors not named McIntyre are all former WWE champions. Just wanted to make sure you knew that. So, as far as this match goes, again, I'm not gonna knock the Chamber match itself. It's very, very hard to have a bad Elimination Chamber unless you want to talk about that terribly booked Women's Elimination Chamber last year. I mean, like, it did the right job, but they fucked up with Shayna at WrestleMania. It did the right job. That's exactly how it should have been booked. You made Shayna look like a fucking monster, and then you absolutely wasted it at WrestleMania. So Shayna...
How do you think that made those 5 other women feel when they did that at WrestleMania? You were in that match with her.
Dude, that match with Becky went 8.5 minutes. Not even 10. 8.5 minutes. Yep. Wasted. But, again, it's very, very hard to have a bad chamber, excluding last year's women's chamber. It's very, very hard to have a bad Elimination Chamber. It's very, very hard to have a bad match when you got these 6 individuals. All 6 of these individuals are excellent. All 6 of these individuals are 6 of the most hardworking talents that you could find in the WWE. I'm not going to knock them. I'm not going to say it's going to be a bad match. I expect it to be a good match. Probably the second best match of the night. But there's just no reason for me to care. Literally, this entire pay-per-view, not just this match, this entire pay-per-view has been built on the mentality that WWE's been operating with for almost a decade now. And that is, we're WWE, they're going to watch anyway. People are going to care no matter what because we're WWE. No, that's not the fucking case. You need to give people a reason to care, or people aren't going to give a shit, period. Why should we give a shit just because they're all former WWE champions? Why not do Elimination Chamber qualifying matches to actually make the shows more meaningful?
Exactly.
But is that too hard? Is that too much for brother love? Yeah, I love you. Is that too much for brother love? Is that too much for the man with a face as red as a baboon's ass?
I think it's fair to say that finally the Fiend returns in this match. I think that's pretty much a given. Call Orton. right?
Is it going to be The Fiend or is it going to be Alexa? Because I don't know. I don't know. Because, like, I feel as though they just started the quote-unquote he will return storyline with The Fiend and Alexa. So, I don't know. Maybe they extend it. Maybe he returns at fucking Fastlane. I'm not sure if we get an Orton match at Fastlane or not. I don't know. Maybe you're right. Maybe The Fiend does return. Maybe he does cost. It's either The Fiend or Alexa. Because they're building towards The Fiend and Orton at WrestleMania. That is ultimately going to be the match.
When you want to do this dark, spooky, hocus pocus shit, they have the perfect environment to do this in. Like, you can't get in, right? So lights go out. Oh my God, how'd they get in? Because they have mystical fucking powers, right? The Fiend or Alexa. I think it should come down to Styles and McIntyre. I mean, and obviously Drew goes over in this match. I think that's the last two in this match. Somehow, like, Orton's taken out with shenanigans, and that's your match as far as I'm concerned. AJ Styles, man, as much as talk about a guy like, what the fuck do you do with an AJ? How do you going into WrestleMania and have nothing for a guy like AJ Styles?
I got an idea.
What's that?
Damien Priest.
I hate that idea.
Priest and Styles? Idea. I mean, if you want to actually solidify Priest as a main event guy, I mean, there's all these fucking rumors, which obviously I don't believe, because how many times have we heard these rumors? Damien Priest. People backstage are high on Damien Priest. People backstage love Damien Priest. I can name you 4 individuals that have had reports come out like this, that they were well liked and management was high on them, and look at where they are. 4 individuals: Keith Lee, Matt Riddle, Andrade, and Angel Garza. We saw numerous amounts of reports from these 4 individuals about how Vince was high on them, they were well liked by management, they see this in them, they see that in them, and look at where all 4 of them are. So there's no reason for me to get excited about a report that Damien Priest is apparently well liked backstage. But hey, if you want to solidify Damien Priest as a top guy, put him against Styles, have him beat Styles. It's not that hard. Why wouldn't you want to see that match?
God knows we have the length of time this year again. It's 2 nights of WrestleMania. I would also do Keith Lee winning the U.S. title, defending against AJ Styles at WrestleMania and retaining. That's a big win for Keith Lee. It gets him another main event win, not just fucking Randy Orton from last year that everybody's forgotten about by now, by the way. That was supposed to be... I remember like it was yesterday when he beat Randy Orton on Twitter. Everyone was like, oh my God, he's a made man. Hell yeah. And I was just waiting. I was like, okay, watch. It's like watching a bomb fuse. Tick, tick, tick. It's slowly getting... I was like, yep, they just fucking squandered him. Meant nothing. That win on Randy Orton almost a year later means nothing, in my opinion.
Which win? The one at Mania?
Randy Orton. No, Keith Lee beating Orton at Payback.
You talk. Yeah. I thought we were still on AJ Styles. Oh, but yeah. Keith Lee beating Randy Orton meant nothing.
But I think Styles and Keith Lee could have a hell of a match.
Well, yeah, that's true. But what do you do with Lashley? Do you leave him off of Mania?
I don't know, man.
That's the thing. You do Keith Lee and Lashley.
They love their spectacle match. They got to have one of those.
Well, that's why I said SummerSlam, because there's no rumors of Brock Lesnar coming back. If Brock was going to come back to build towards a match with Lashley, he should have been back already. And it don't seem like he's coming back anytime soon to build towards that match with Lashley. So at the end of the day, that match ain't happening.
And once again, we're in another case of, this is what we just talked about this on Slam Pigs with Thunder, WCW's ultimate downfall by the end. It's exactly what WWE does now. They hoard all the talent so nobody else can have them. It's like the little kid that gets all the toys, right? He doesn't want anyone else to play with them. But when you do that, a lot of your toys are going to get neglected. You're going to forget about action figures that you own and video games that you just get on the backlog because you forget you own them. It's frustrating.
Very, very true, dude. Very, very true. But yeah, I would do Damien Priest versus AJ Styles. Now, as far as the final 2, I don't see AJ Styles coming down to the final 2. For some reason, I feel as though they're going to do Drew McIntyre and Sheamus at the final 2, and we are going to get another match with Drew McIntyre and Sheamus at Fastlane. Because, WWE, they're probably going to put 2 fucking world title matches on Fastlane. But either way, Fastlane needs a world title match. Because you elected to put that pay-per-view 3 weeks before Mania. So, there's no reason for Drew McIntyre to lose. No reason.
Drew McIntyre should carry this belt into May or June, in my opinion.
No, he should carry the belt into SummerSlam.
Yeah, I mean, why not? I mean, Jesus Christ.
Cross, McIntyre, SummerSlam. Keith Lee wins Money in the Bank. Cross wins the title from Drew at SummerSlam. Holds it for a few months. Has the TLC match in December. Goes through a brutal TLC match. Keith Lee cashes in Money in the Bank. Protects Cross in defeat. Keith Lee's the WWE Champion. Plays up their history in NXT. Gets Keith Lee his win back from when Cross took the NXT title from him. All the while, you build up Adam Cole. Adam Cole wins the 2022 Men's Royal Rumble. Keith Lee, Adam Cole, WrestleMania 38 WWE title.
And who's to say also, you talk about what would AJ Styles do going into spring and around Mania time. After Mania, I want Edge to not beat Drew, so how great would AJ Styles and Edge be as a program for after WrestleMania? And just the simplistic booking with that is Edge just mocking him for his age, and he couldn't get the job done, and blah, 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 blah. I'd sign me up for those two in the ring anyway.
You could do that you could do that in June at Backlash, but at SummerSlam, I got a great match for you. Listen to this.
All right.
Edge versus Adam Cole.
Yeah. That's all the people that complained about Edge winning the Royal Rumble and just, it's not the same as a Goldberg. Edge can still go. Think about all the possible dream matches we have now with Edge.
True.
Edge just didn't get bored one day working on his fucking Harleys and decided to show up and get a belt handed to him. No, it's a true real life feel good story. That's why it works for me with Edge. And the guy can still go. And how could you not feel good for this guy?
And on top of that, if he's put in a position to enhance others through this win, which he should be with McIntyre, I can't shit on that. As long as they follow through with it correctly and have him go over McIntyre, not Reigns. But if they choose the wrong guy, then I'm going to shit on it.
And that's a wild card, too, we haven't talked about for this pay-per-view. Does Edge show up at all and do anything on this show?
I would have him come out, and I would have him challenge McIntyre after the Chamber. Edge McIntyre. There you go.
Don't hate it. I totally agree.
Just do it already. I don't know why they're delaying it. They should have realized that just because they're delaying Edge and Bianca's decision, that's not going to boost the ratings. The ratings are still at a 1.8.
Yeah, exactly.
Bad Bunny, man. Talk about those ratings. Bad Bunny.
Oh, no.
God. Well, but by the way, what is on Bad Bunny's head? Is that a hairstyle?
That's Chia Pet.
What the fuck? I don't know, dude. I don't know.
Hopefully after last night, by the way, WWE gets a little boost in the ratings since they're getting all this exposure on TNT since the WWE Champion was on Dynamite last night. My God, that's big time exposure.
You gotta love JR. I don't care what anyone says. I love JR, no matter what.
Jolly alcoholic Jim Ross is my favorite Jim Ross.
Well, let me tell you something. JR, he's actually very good on commentary when it comes on Dynamite. But when he does botch it, it's actually pretty funny. So like in hindsight, I can't even hate on it because it's funny.
Yeah,
can't even hate on it.
Matthew from Botchamania is gonna have a field day with that clip in the next Botchamania.
Oh, but let's not forget the exploding barbed wire death match.
Hell yeah!
I don't know what that is, but man, I'm actually intrigued by it. I don't know how they're gonna make the barbed wire explode.
I'll send you some links later on tonight of some of
the Please do. I'm actually very interested in that. We're talking about Dynamite on the rundown for Elimination Chamber. Anything can happen. But, so, we have Drew McIntyre retaining, and more likely than not, Edge. I'm calling Edge to come out, and he, more likely than not, is going to challenge McIntyre, somewhat like that. So, here's my last question before we wrap it up. Do you see any storylines from the Chamber carrying over into Fastlane?
I think Drew and Sheamus should. Cesaro and Roman, like we talked about, should probably carry over. If you're going to have a filler show like a Fastlane, then why not? It's a little transitional, bump along the road to WrestleMania. Please progress Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens as fast as possible.
I'm in agreement there. I'm in agreement. Sami and Kevin. There we go.
Yeah. Yep.
Ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up this edition of The Rundown. I would like to thank each and every single one of you who tuned into this video. Please like, comment, subscribe. Check out all the links in the description. Once again, Mr. Hibiki, where can we find you on social media?
As always, at the Hibiki TMD on Twitter, Hibiki TMD on YouTube, all the goodness, retro gaming, pro wrestling, heavy metal podcast, your official Hibiki TMD merch, unionsmack.bigcartel.com, and forgot to plug this earlier, and they're going to kill me. Every Monday or Tuesday night on Twitch, Broken Optics, the Monday Night Melee. If it's a co-op game, bet your sweet little ass we're going to play it. Thank you, man, so much for having me. This is good. This is fun.
Hey, man, I greatly appreciate it. Thank you for coming on. Much appreciated. I greatly appreciate the opportunity to work with you. And trust me, I will be back on your channel for another episode of Hibiki High Spots. We got to organize WrestleMania 3 because I'm actually very interested. I have not watched Savage and Steamboat in like probably 7 years. I have not, I literally don't remember anything from that match. I'm very, very, very much looking forward to watching that match again. And I really do want to review WrestleMania 3.
Oh, it's coming. It's there waiting.
But ladies and gentlemen, he's Hibiki TMD. I am DJ Storms. And this has been The Rundown. And I will catch you tomorrow for the Lightning Flash Update, 1 p.m. Eastern Time, where I'm going to light all you motherfuckers up, as per usual. Keep it real.